Hello and welcome to another episode of Head On. I'm Inaz Merchant, and today we're going to do part 2 of the episode we did a couple of days ago and focus on the issues that are going to impact the 2019 Lok Sabha election. And I'm delighted again to have with me again today Akhil Oak, who is a postgraduate from the University of Mumbai and also has returned after graduating from the London School of Economics. So welcome again, Akhil. We'll carry on our discussion that we had a few days ago on the main issues that will impact the Lok Sabha election, which begins on Thursday, the 11th of April. Right. Akhil, so let's begin with the BJP manifesto. It's just been released, and the issues that emanate from it. So if you have your questions ready, your thoughts ready, please go ahead.
When it comes to Article 370, as you just mentioned, there have been a lot of opposing voices saying that this article is the raison d'etre for Kashmir being a part of India today, and if something happens to it, there will be chaos. So what is your take on that?
See, Akhil, I think that as far as Article 370 is concerned, it was put in by an act of subterfuge. 1947, October 26th, the instrument of accession by Hari Singh, the father of Karan Singh, and Karan Singh has said a week ago in print that 370 was obviously not even thought of when the instrument of accession was signed by J&K, as it was with the other 650 odd principalities. It was only 2 years later, when Dr. Ambedkar was finalizing the draft of the constitution around the end of November of 1949, that Sheikh Abdullah went to Nehru and said, we want special status because we're a Muslim majority state and we've acceded to the Union of India, but we would like autonomy, special status, we want to be different. And to that, so Nehru went to Ambedkar and said, rather he told Abdullah, Sheikh Abdullah, write a proposal to Dr. Ambedkar, who's the head of the drafting committee of the constitution, and see what he says. So Sheikh Abdullah did that, and Dr. Ambedkar was livid. He said, do you want me to start off the life of a new republic by doing treachery and backstabbing, that you have discrimination as your leitmotif in the constitution, where Indian citizens can't buy land, etc., and do whatever they want in Jammu and Kashmir, but residents of J&K can do everything they want, employment, etc., etc., in the rest of India? He said, no, I'm not going to do it. And finally, Nehru went to America, got Sardar Patel out of a sense of loyalty to make, the Congress Working Committee, by the way, said, no, we don't want this Article 370 at all. But Nehru and Sheikh Abdullah managed to convince Sardar Patel against his own real desire to get it included. Dr. Ambedkar boycotted that session in which 370 was done, and he was very much against it. And Sardar Patel and Ambedkar to an extent, but Sardar Patel tried to mollify things by putting in those two words, temporary, transient. So this is a temporary and transient section or article in the Constitution, and it's remained obviously permanent and has, due to its, due to habit, due to continuity, and due to a few judgments by different courts, it's assumed a certain amount of permanence. So to get rid of it now, 370, very difficult. It needs, because it's in the Constitution, it needs the Assembly of J&K to approve it. It's not going to be possible in the foreseeable future. two-thirds majority in both houses of parliament. Not going to happen in the foreseeable future. So 370 has been eroded over the decades, bit by bit, like the rupee, the value of the rupee. Go down, 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 down. In the same way, there's erosion of 370. And that is the only way in which the integration of J&K can take place, by almost a creeping, as they call it, a creeping acquisition of things, but in this particular case, creeping finalization, or erosion rather, of the separation of Jammu and Kashmir from the rest of India. But the other section, I don't know whether you've sort of got that in your questions, but 35A is something that you might like to talk about. Yeah. 370 will be sort of eventually eroded and out of the picture, because to get rid of it, difficult. It's been part of the BJP sort of agenda for decades, and Omar Abdullah and all the other Kashmir politicians have been parts as ministers of the NDA, and they never said, oh, we don't want to join the NDA cabinet under Vajpayee, which Omar Abdullah did, even though it's a stated mission statement of the BJP that we want to abrogate 370. So despite knowing that, the hypocrisy of the Abdullahs and all the other Kashmiri politicians who at some stage have been part of the NDA government, Vajpayee government, they didn't say, no, we will not, on a matter of principle, be a minister in the Vajpayee government, because the Vajpayee government wants to abrogate 370. But coming to 35A, if you have a point there.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we mention 35A, a lot is talked about permanent residency and property. Most people, including many leading politicians in the current opposition, they fail to talk about the plight of the Valmiki community that belong to the scheduled caste and who have been resident there, and they have been forced to continue as Safai Karmacharis just because they are not eligible to permanent residency. So what do you think that is the hypocrisy of many people around, and how does it work out in the larger scheme of things when anyone mentions 35A and its application?
Yeah, see, 35A, Akhil, was brought in 1954, presidential proclamation. It was not approved by Parliament. As people have said recently, it can be repealed by a presidential order. But that apart, 35A has many, many, many infirmities. 370 you can't abrogate right now because of practical difficulties. 35A does not have practical difficulties in terms of its abrogation or its repealing. But its infirmities begin with what you said. Scheduled castes, scheduled tribes. They were brought in to Kashmir, into J&K in the 1950s with the promise that they would be ultimately given permanent residency and so on. That promise has not been fulfilled. It's been broken. So you have today SC, ST people in Kashmir who have no rights, absolutely no rights at all. And no one is talking about that. In the context of 35A, the fact that SC, ST do not have rights, they live in J&K, but they don't have any rights, is not talked about by anybody. Not Mayawati, she should talk about it. Not by Rahul Gandhi, not by anyone who cares about Dalits. So this is a great infirmity, and you know, it's a great injustice to scheduled caste, scheduled tribe people who've been brought into the valley on this broken promise. And then there's gender inequality. I mean, that's the other big thing which feminists aren't talking about in great detail, where women are disinherited if they marry someone outside Kashmir. And that kind of gender inequality is in 35A, which is built into 35A, is wrong. And what's the whole point of all of these things? It's to say that we want our Muslim majority, our majoritarianism, to be protected. But we're a secular country. So that is contradictory. You can't say that about Kashmir. Oh, because we're a Muslim majority, therefore we want protection, and therefore we don't want people from outside to come in and to then, I won't use the word pollute, but then to, you know, change the demography. They've changed the demography by exiling 4 lakh plus pundits from the valley. So that demography has changed already. But to argue on a communal basis, 35A, that we don't want people from outside to have employment, property, settlement, and education. These 4 things in J&K, including in Jammu. Apart from the gender inequality and the SC/ST points, and there's 6 things. And to say that all of this because we don't want to change the demography of our Muslim majority population, if that's not being communal, what is? Sure, you've got special rights, protect people in Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, Himachal. There are certain laws which protect under Article 371 A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. There are clauses in the Constitution which protect, but they aren't overarching like 35A. And you know, this majoritarian aspect of 35A is what really should be defeated, apart from the gender inequality and the SC/ST point, which no one in the so-called secular community, secular political party community, Mayawati, etc., Lalu Prasad Yadav, RJD, etc., Rahul Gandhi, no one is talking about it and criticizing 35A on that basis.
But do you think that, as you just mentioned, some of these provisions of 35A exist in other states as well?
Yeah, we said that.
So should they be repealed?
Absolutely. See, by and large, I believe that integration means that slowly over time, you've got to remove special rights. The only rights that you keep are fundamental rights. Protect Nagas, protect them in Mizoram, the Mizo culture, protect certain aspects in Jammu and Kashmir also. But you can't have an overarching thing which says 50 years ago we did this or 60 years ago, because the Naga and Mizoram, many of these clauses, many of these 371 A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I amendments in the Constitution all took place in the 1960s, 62 for one. And 50, 60 years later, you have to change. There has to be an evolution. Otherwise, you remain backward. And the point really is about J&K 35A. Who are the losers? I mean, women are the losers, sure. SC/ST are the losers, certainly. People from the rest of India are losers in terms of education, settlement, property, and employment.
And even the Kashmiri Pandits.
And Kashmiri Pandits, yeah. But who are the biggest losers are the Kashmiris themselves who remain in Kashmir, because the state is pre-programmed because of 35A to remain backward. Infosys, Wipro, nobody will set up an IT center in Kashmir because the employees can't own land, can't send the kids to school and college. So that kind of self-imprisonment almost makes you like the Andamans. I mean, after 50 years, if you continue like this and you have no investment coming in from the rest of India, the 3rd largest economy in the world already by purchasing power parity, the 3rd largest economy in the world, India, to be by 2030 in nominal terms, and you are blocking all the investment from this 3rd largest economy in nominal terms by 2030 because you want to stay in the majoritarian, non-polluted atmosphere. It's the Kashmiris who are putting an axe on their own feet. I mean, they're anti-development in order to protect what? A communal identity? And the rest of India, everybody screams from the rooftops, we are secular, no communal identities, no Hindu majoritarianism. But Muslim majoritarianism in J&K, is that okay? No, it's not okay. Right. Thank you, Akhil, for being with us today. And thank you all for watching this episode. We hope that you'll join us again next week. But for the moment, goodbye. And once again, thank you.